Welcome to A Producer's Life in Uganda. I'm Elizabeth Ingero and I'm the producer of the TV show Let's Cook, which is available right on this channel. 6 episodes for you to enjoy watching. Now, I'm just going to show you behind the scenes of a food video that I was creating. Now, I'm not creating this for my channel, although I might put it on the channel. I'm actually creating it for a client. And I was just going to show you the camera setup because obviously my channel is about behind the scenes and whatnot. So the issue that I had initially was the fact that a lot of my equipment I've left abroad. I've left in another country. And so that means that, and the reason I did that was because I didn't want to have to carry kit back and forth. So I've got, a majority of my stuff actually is in Uganda, and I only had a few things here, and I've had to get a few things here just so that I can do a little bit of filming here in the UK. So what's the setup? This is just the final beauty shot, and I've just put the different things there to create a scene. Because it's nighttime, I started filming during the day anyway, and I don't like shooting at night, but especially because I don't have my additional lights there all away, so I only have this one light. But what I've had to do for the beauty shots is I had to try and create some additional lighting, and then the other issue is it's just me doing it, and so I'm trying to take a picture while holding this like this. Because the light stands have been used for this here, which is a slider. So I'm going to climb up here and show you. So this is a slider that I've got here, and I've put the slider upside down so that it's upside down so that I can attach, let me show you, so that I can attach a camera to it. Ooh, let's get down. So I can attach a camera to it that can face downwards. I've got a ball head mount here attached to the slider, and then the camera is attached to the ball head mount. And that way I can position the camera any way I want it, really. And it also means that I can use the slider to get those nice shots going back and forth of the food. And you can just stay stationary and get an overhead shot. Now, the great thing about this ball head as well is the fact that, so like I'm just unscrewing it here, you can, let's move the right one, there you go. So you can move it in all sorts of directions depending on what you're trying to capture. So even if I wanted to get like a ceiling shot or whatever, I could do that. Just based on what you want to capture, you can position yourself and then secure it in place. So that's just hanging now. So that was one camera that I used. The other camera, and that was getting sort of this shot going overhead. That's while I was cooking. And I've moved falling down everywhere. So I've moved this across so that so I could do the final photography, the photo shots, the beauty shots. So this was further along here, and the stove was here as well, and the cooking was happening here. Now what I've done is I've taken my dining table, because I'm just using the things that I have at home right now. I did sort of go out of my way to get anything new. I just put this tablecloth over our normal tablecloth there, just because the colours of the other one it created sort of a clash because of the orange. So then I just went for this one, and this one is kind of like it feels like an African print as well. I've moved it close to the window. Obviously when we had the light coming in from outside, we had the natural light coming in. Then I didn't use any other lights actually. I was just using the natural light from the day. Unfortunately, it wasn't a very bright day, but I just wanted to get this over and done with, just to create just a little demo, a little example of the kind of thing that I would create. And then I've got these little cute containers, so I've put some salt in there, some pepper and oil in there as well. And I've just dressed the table with some of the ingredients, so garlic. I put some scattered some peppercorns around just to give it that sort of texture to the table. Put some tomatoes, but tomatoes didn't go in the dish, but I just put the tomatoes there just because of the vibrancy of the red. And the other things were in a different bowl, like a bigger bowl. It's like an ice cream bowl, and so that was quite useful. So I can move this now because I've already done my last shot. I used this cooker, and it's an electric induction hob cooker. Great thing about this is that it's quite portable. As long as you've got your extension cable, you can put it wherever you want, as long as you've got electricity. Let me put this here so that you can see. And a magnetic pot. As long as a magnet can react to the bottom of your pot, then you can use this type of induction cooking. So I had this there. I had the different things on the side, like the onions and things like that, in separate bowls beside it, and then the pot in the middle, and I was able to cook the dish step by step. I had the camera, let's put this up like this. I had the camera obviously right above, so not here, but move. It was further across, right above, and it was facing down like this. Let me just secure that in place. It was facing down, and again it was allowing me to get the overhead shot, but then also to get the overhead shot but slider, so going from one end to the other slowly. Now I didn't want to faff around, because ideally what I should have used is I should have been able to change this lens, because this is just a normal kit lens on there, to be able to get really nice close-up shots. But the kit lens, I think, because I didn't want to have to keep on changing lenses, I just used a kit lens because, you know, it was easier than to just zoom in a little bit and zoom out when needed. So what else? So then this is the second camera. So this camera wasn't like this. I've only put it here for the final shots. The final shots of pouring, putting letting the spoon put the food into the dish. I did sort of a close-up shot of that, so you could only see the food falling into the plate. So that's what I did for that shot there. But where it was over here. Sorry, I'm not even using like a handheld vlogging thing. I'm just using my hand to hold the phone. That's why it's a bit awkward. So this was a lot higher up, and it was looking down into the pot from around this height here, looking down. I put the blackboard there as well with special garlic pork, just to give the background, just to give something in the background. And then because obviously I'm doing this at home, I could see the radiator. So I just put that blanket over the radiator as well, so there wasn't that radiator popping out. And I had to lift up the curtain because you could see the curtain in the corner, but just it was too much of a distraction, so I had to lift that up as well. But it's the kind of thing that it could take a while to set up if you're just trying to, if it's the first time you're doing it. If it's your regular setup, then it'll be a lot easier. But I just wanted to create something today, and this is a setup that I came with that worked well for me. And this camera as well, I decided to use, this is a kit lens on this camera. I did have on there before, let me see, let me just have a look and see which lens I had the 55 to 250 lens before, and the only problem with that, obviously it's quite up, is quite close up. So with this one, I can go back to 18, which gives me more options. So I guess it depends. If you have a more of a long-term setup, then you could use something like this, put it further away, and if you've got someone else controlling it as well, they can zoom in. It gives you more of a zooming in shot. Whereas because it was me doing it solo, I was using one hand to sort of stir. And then the other hand to every once in a while to get the slider shot moving while stirring. And this at the moment isn't really stable, as you can see, it's very wobbly. So it's just a temporary setup. But yeah, just to let you know, that's what it is. That's what I've done. And great tip is just find whatever you can find at home that you have. Just use it to dress the table. You know, it can be messy. You can be creative with this. And it, find things that will give you color, things that will give you the sort of the essence of what you're making. So maybe the raw ingredients. And of course, when you finish as well, is to make sure that you capture what has been prepared in a nice, juicy way. So that it looks appetizing. And depending on where you want to post it, if it's Instagram, then you'd be looking to make sure that your main thing is in the shot. You can capture the main section. Instagram is usually like that, isn't it? So you can capture whatever it is you need to capture in there. So just be aware of that. And try and find little cute different things to pour your items out of, for example, to get a pinch of salt, or rather than the salt container or a bottle of oil, try and put them into other things that are very easy and manageable to use. But as far as this setup goes, I think I need to find a long-term solution, but this was really just to give an idea of what we'd be looking to do for the food videos. And any of you out there, any YouTubers who want to do food videos, then I would suggest, really, if you can, getting something independent so that you're not restricted by a wall in your kitchen. You can actually cook. I don't have the pot right here. And then have the freedom on both sides to look inside your pot, or go in from the side up to look. And even if you can do this on the phone, you can do this on the phone. You can do several things, several shots to get that look that you want to go for. Obviously, if you're in lighting like this, is not very good. But daylight, try and get somewhere by the window. Then you can go down into the pot, depending on what you're doing, mixing it. Then you can make sure you can do slider shots yourself. Just go across like that. It's harder when you don't have a steady base, but it's something that you can do yourself, really. Even just going from side to side like that to reveal what it is that you're trying to reveal. There you go, you see? And then even if you were further back, you can go like that, then move in. That also works as well. But just be creative with it. This is a setup that I've used. It's up to you to decide what you want to do, depending on the kit you have. If you've got a camera, then fantastic. Cameras these days are wonderful. I like shooting on a camera for YouTube. But this setup gives me more options in terms of close-ups, the overhead shot for the same action. So yes, hopefully this has been useful. This has just been my setup right now. Slider, headshot, another camera getting sort of at an angle. Then later on the close-up shots for the pouring, putting the food into the container, and the overhead shot, and then pictures of your scene set up with different things to create the feel of what you're going for. And cool. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this has been useful to anyone out there. Any questions you have, put them in the comment section below, and feel free to watch my cooking show Let's Cook. We've got the 6 episodes right here on YouTube available for you to watch. Thank you for coming to A Producer's Life in Uganda, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.